A former New Orleans police detective appears to be the focus of a criminal payroll fraud investigation. The inspector general alleges he made massive amounts of overtime by claiming to work 14 hours a day at home while traveling, even on family cruises. Tonight in a WWL Louisiana exclusive, former NOPD detective Chad Cockerham sits down with chief investigative reporter David Hammer to answer those allegations.
In order to be a great detective, you're never off.
Some consider NOPD Detective Chad Cockerham the hardest working officer on the force, pulling all-nighters even while on vacation and always on call to chase leads day or night.
Every homicide, every shooting investigation, I respond to those investigations by sending out intelligence information to the officers, to the detectives, as well as the command staff.
In 2024, his supervisor, Sergeant Gary LeCabe, pointed to 15 federal indictments and almost 100 state cases, saying, quote, "There's nobody, trust me, in this department right now sitting on that many arrests."
You won't find no detective with those number of indictments.
But now, an Inspector General report portrays Cockerham as the poster child for NOPD payroll fraud. City records show that in 2023, Cockerham was one of 16 rank-and-file officers with base salaries under $100,000 who used overtime to rake in more than $200,000 for the year.
To be absolutely clear, you cannot get to those numbers without committing payroll fraud.
NOPD watchdog and university professor Skip Gallagher has been collecting and analyzing NOPD timesheets for years. He filed a complaint against Cockerham in 2024, focusing on his uninterrupted string of 16-plus-hour days, premium pay for working overnight, and all while taking just 4 days off in all of 2023.
There is so little time off that no human can do this.
What do you say to people like Skip Gallagher who say that the amount of work that you're claiming is just superhuman?
He doesn't understand that I do not have to be in the office to be working. And to make these assumptions and say that somebody's committing payroll fraud when you have never seen them commit payroll fraud, this is defamation of character.
Cockerham admits he used his supervisor's sign-in credentials to log his own hours from his home in Geismar, about an hour west of New Orleans. He admits claiming overtime hours for court cases on weekends and late at night when the courts were closed, saying that was time he spent preparing for upcoming cases. In 2024, an outside law firm hired by the city found Cockerham did not commit payroll fraud. Instead, it found NOPD officers' abuse of overtime is systemic.
The Transcendent Law Group said that in their report, that you can't ask officers to work overtime, and now the officers are fulfilling the overtime hours, and now because they get a complaint, you want to crucify them. You just can't do that.
But the investigation isn't over. This month, the Inspector General chimed in with a report focusing on an officer known to be Cockerham, using cell phone location data to show he was on vacation while claiming to work overtime. Cockerham admits he did, in fact, claim 16-hour shifts while traveling to away Saints games and during 2 family cruises to the Caribbean.
I could be monitoring jail calls, I could be monitoring video visits from federal inmates. But again, a lot of stuff is dealing with typing and pushing getting together my presentations for federal court, for cases.
And so when you got on the cruise ship at the dock in New Orleans, what did that involve? You just went straight to getting on the computer?
Yes, so I immediately go straight to the room. My family obviously leaves out of the room. They go enjoy the festivities of dealing with the cruise. I immediately put my headphones on. I immediately start working.
The IG report says he produced almost nothing on his work devices during that time. Cockerham says that's because he used his personal devices.
As long as I have my laptop with me, as long as I have my Surface Pro or my iPad, I can work from wherever I'm at. And that has been explained through multiple supervisors.
When I asked Cockerham about his assignment supporting a local SWAT operation, he talked about his work monitoring crime cameras at the New Orleans Real-Time Crime Center.
When I go to the crime center, I am looking for narcotics violations, I'm looking for firearms violations. We are looking to basically do constitutional intelligence-based policing. So when I sit there, I basically call out information to the officers on the ground the officers on the ground go in and make a stop.
But the IG looked at a sample of 151 hours during his local assignment and found Cockerham was only in New Orleans for 12 of those hours. The IG report says Cockerham was the only member of the FBI task force making premium pay for overnight work. But the FBI never gave him approval for that, nor for him to work remotely.
What gives the taxpayer the assurance that you're actually putting in those extremely long hours?
The proof is in the pudding with the production of the cases. Not only do I have federal cases, at this point in time, before I was reassigned, I had roughly about 75 to 100 state cases in court.
But if you ever deviate from your work while you're claiming 16 and a half hours at home, there's nobody there to say, hey, detective, get back on task.
The only time I'm gonna deviate away from not doing anything is when I'm not getting paid. However, my supervisor talks to me on a consistent basis, and he knows that work is being done because I'm calling him with certain things, he's calling me with certain things. There's never gonna be a time where I'm gonna be on the city's dime and I'm not working. That's just not gonna happen.
As we first reported in March, Cockerham is suing the city and NOPD Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick for wrongful termination and retaliation, and Gallagher for defamation. The department and Kirkpatrick declined to comment while the case is pending. Inspector General Ed Michel declined to be interviewed during what he says is an active criminal investigation. David Hammer, WWL, Louisiana.
Now, coming up tomorrow, David questions Cockerham about the dishonesty allegations that got him fired as he fights at the Civil Service Commission this week to get his job back.